Cashflow Diary Podcast, episode 108.
Welcome to yet another exciting episode of the Cashflow Diary Podcast, the podcast that teaches you insider tips, tactics, and strategies for creating leverage streams of cash flow into your life. Learn from top-performing entrepreneurs, business owners, investors, and thought leaders from across the globe as they share their secrets to success. Like what you learn on this and other Cashflow Diary podcast episodes? Go to learninvestingnow.com and sign up to receive powerful tips and information that will help you succeed as an entrepreneur and investor. Now, here's your host, investor, entrepreneur, business owner, educator, speaker, author, and master facilitator of Robert Kiyosaki's cash flow game, Jay Massey.
All right. So you've heard it said that master facilitator of a cash flow game, but yet you've never been able to attend one. So here's what we did. This episode is your opportunity to take some notes and do your best to try to glean some lessons from playing the game as I'm going to share them with you. So what we've done is we've got 2 segments of live recording of what has happened at a cash flow game. So you can listen. Grab that pen, grab that paper, get ready. Here we go. 2003 was the first time I played this game. You know that Friday after Thanksgiving where most employees have off, right? That's what happened for us. And a friend said, hey, why don't you come over and play a board game? But by the way, that's like the secret to get me to your house is play a board game. For my wife, it's feed her. She'll be there. So they said, hey, come over, have some food, and let's play a board game. I didn't even ask what board game. It didn't really matter because there was a board game. Sounds great to me. She didn't ask, what are you cooking? Because it didn't matter. It's like, great to her. And we showed up. And it turned out to be this board game. We started playing at 6. We left our house at 4 a.m. We will be leaving here sooner than that. Okay? So keep that in mind. And what it comes down to is that this game began to change the way that I viewed the world, change the way that I see things, change the way I interacted with money, change the way I interacted with opportunity. And because of that, it set me on this path for more information and figuring it out. And if you haven't gathered anything else, gather this. We are executioners. We're really good at executing. That's what we've become good at. So it wasn't long after playing the game that I said, hey, why don't we do what we did in the game in real life? And that's basically all that has happened. Many of you ask me, what do I do on a day-to-day basis? When you play the game, that's what I do on a day-to-day basis. When I say we, my wife and I, we've been teaching this game 10 years-ish. My oldest daughter, who's 17, as I was saying earlier, went to college. She can do what you're going to see me do. She's seen it since she was 9, so she's like over it to some degree. And if you don't want to participate fully, you won't learn as much, and you begin to detract from the other individual's learning environment. Now, I want that. So participate fully, have fun. We've gone to inner city schools and taught this game and changes their kids' minds. If you really, really, really want to disrupt someone's household, teach all of their children this game before you teach the adults, and especially just before they think they're going to college. Because what begins to happen is they begin to ask different questions. Like, Daddy, why do I have to go to college? Why can't I just do what that guy said? And then that starts a whole argument, which then they mad at you. But, hey, it is what it is. So just keep in mind that those things happen all the time. How many of us have seen this before? Show of hands. How many of us have not? Okay, let's try that again. Because, see, 100% what? Participation is still in effect. So how many of us have seen this before? And how many of us have not? Not. I was like, really? I was like, you? And that is the cash flow quadrant. 4 ways to be able to earn money in business is what we're talking about here. E, employee, S, self-employed, B, business owner, I, investor. Here you're trading time for dollars, which we're all familiar with in some way, shape, or degree. Self-employed person is trading more specialized knowledge, but they're still tied to a clock. A business owner owns a system, and it's one of the reasons I love real estate so much, is because I don't have to be there when the toilet breaks or when it's time to put in a new customer or when it's time to even collect the rent. What happens on, what's a Tuesday, Wednesday? What date is Wednesday? The 1st. Why do I smile when I say the first? Exactly, right? See, before real estate, when it was the first, it wasn't really a smile. You get my point? And I'm here, though, and at least I think, I'm not going anywhere. So I'm planning to be here on the first. The properties aren't here, but that doesn't matter because it's a system, at the end of the day. And investors, they're using their money to back someone else's system to go out there and bring them more money. That's it. Simple, right? That's what we're talking about. This, I hope, is something that is on the way here. I know you're missing some papers at this moment, but you should have you'll have a copy of some of these things in a packet for you. And this is what is called the cone of learning. The cone of learning. What it simply says is that after 2 weeks, you tend to remember 10% of what you read and 20% of what you hear. Which means that if all we do today is have you read some stuff and I talk at you all day, you're likely at most to remember 20% of it, which means you're likely to do none of it, which is the problem. Because when you were in school, what did they spend most of their time doing? Talking at you and forcing you to read stuff that you weren't interested in. Never telling you how it was actually useful, right? How many of us would have paid more attention in math class if we knew that math and money were the same? Like when I was showing you algebra, right? You're like, oh, now I care. Until then, who cares if it's a right angle or not? It doesn't matter. We tend to remember 30% of what we see looking at pictures, 50% of what we hear and see. Earlier today, did we watch a small little movie? We've watched many different versions of that. And again, it's designed to increase your retention. Watching a demonstration, you saw some ads earlier about how we go on location to show people how real estate is done. Your real deal tour or something of that nature, right? Well, you get to see it done on location, which again increases retention. Then it becomes to participating in a discussion. As you probably have already figured out, I'm kind of big on you guys participating in discussions because that again takes us to the 70% mark. Giving a talk. Well, Sep said, I'm terrified of speaking in public. I don't care. Does it matter? Do you want to learn this or not? Yeah, well, then you're going to learn to speak in public because that's what I had to do. I don't, trust me, sometimes I wish I was, how they do these reality TV show things, right? I wish when I was getting started, someone was following me around so that you could see the actual footage of me hiding at networking events, trying to not talk to people, barely going, because it's probably hard for you to see that today, right? But I'm like, I'm telling you, that's what I do. Trust me, my wife is more extroverted than I, and when we go to a party, I find the corner as quickly as humanly possible, because that's just like my happy space, man. And that's what I do. But she's talking to people. You're like, really? How do you get anything done? Yes, that's what I was talking about right there. Just hand that to the bankers people on the outside and we'll take care of that in a second. Get that over to Jacob. That'd be great. So giving a talk is something you're going to do tonight. Now, how many of you, just because I said you're going to give a talk tonight, you just mentally ran out of the room? You're like, no, I'm not. You said that to yourself, right? Yes, you are, because I'm going to help you remember this information. Then it's doing a dramatic presentation, more importantly, simulating the real experience. Has anyone in this room participated in any of our armed services in any way, shape, or form? Armed services of any kind? No? Anyone have family that participated in the armed service? Oh, wow. Okay, got it. Yeah. All right. Now, even before we put our family members or friends inside those tanks and airplanes or give them an M whatever rifle, what do they do first? They simulate it. Do they simulate it once? No. Do they do it over a weekend boot camp? No. They don't do it over a weekend boot camp and then say, good luck, soldier. That's not how it works. They do it multiple times over a length of days and months and weeks. Then they give them bullets that are real and go out there and get it done. Yeah, but for some reason, you and I think, hey, I can go to a weekend boot camp and do this real estate thing. That's all I need to do. Really? Is that how that works? Because that hasn't worked out for me. It took multiple years and days and weeks and blood and sweat and tears and mistakes that happened and took longer than a weekend to get this thing down. to this level, and it's going to take even more to go to those next levels. That's a long way of saying, if this is your first time playing, don't let it be the last. If this is your 100th time playing, don't let it be the last. Because the more you play this game, the more you learn, the richer you become, period. Right? And I recommend strongly you play with people in person. Yes, I know there's the online game. I'm not blind to that. However, you learn more when you're in the room, especially with the facilitator. You just learn more that way because you get to see how other people do things, and you can learn from what they're doing as well. And I'd rather you learn here on a board game where it doesn't hurt and you don't bleed as much. Because once you go outside there, all gloves come off. There are no safety nets, guys, out there. In here, total safety net. Another way of saying that is, for those of you who have played many times, here's what I want you to do. Something completely different that absolutely makes you uncomfortable. Play completely differently. Risk it all, because you never know what you might learn before that happens. Because you think, oh, if I do that, something bad's going to happen. Go find out. What better place to do that inside a board game? Okay? So then you see this board. It should be in front of you like so. And there are two ways to win. How many? Who likes to win? Who prefers to lose? I'm just asking because, see, I'm looking for 100% participation. Like somebody's like, I want to lose, right? See, and here's another thing that I just want to plant this seed. You like to win. No one prefers to lose. Therefore, that means every day you woke up and were contributing your best ideas to your life, which has created a result. Because I've yet to run into any person who says, you know what? I can't wait to aim for the bottom. No one wakes up and says that. The reason I'm sharing that with you is because this game may give you, and other people at the table may give you additional ideas you hadn't considered that will likely help you go into the direction you actually want to go and get there faster than you've ever gotten there before. One of those things is understanding that in the way the game works is you start in the rat race. The first thing you must do is get into what is called the fast track. This is the rat race. This is the fast track. Rat race, fast track. Which of the two you're more familiar with? Rat race, right? They're like, I'd like to become unfamiliar with it, please. And that's exactly what we're talking about. So step number one is to get into the fast track. Once you get into the fast track, you can do one of two things to win. You either A, have enough money and purchase one of the pink squares, which will be your dream, which you will select in a second, or you have enough money to purchase additional businesses, which are the green squares, to increase your income by an additional $50,000 a month. Okay? Now, the first time I heard that, because you remember, I didn't know what I was coming to play. It said $50,000 a month. I'm like, there are people who make $50,000 a month? Really? Where are they? Because they're not my friends. Right? And then what's interesting is as you play this game, that thought process right now, which for some of you, your subconscious automatically just rejects the idea of you being that person. And you don't even know that tape is playing. And until you get used to saying things like, and this was one of the exercises I used to do, is I make $50,000 a month. He makes $50,000 a month. Jay makes $50,000 a month. And I would repeat that until my brain would just not go, that can't happen for you. Right? And it wasn't overnight. So that I began to act in the way that someone who would earn $50,000, I began to have $50,000 a month ideas. I began, like I said earlier, if I wanted to create another $250,000 in the next 3 weeks, I can put a plan together. My team and we could execute it, and we would get pretty darn close, if not blow that thing out of the water. Because we've surprised ourselves the last couple of weeks a number of times. We're like, wow, I didn't know. Okay, well, cool. Let's see what we can do next time. And that's what I mean here. So you either A, buy your dream, or B, buy businesses to increase your income by an additional $50,000 a month. So the question is, if A, you start in the rat race and you have to get out of the rat race, buy a dream, or you start in the rat race and you got to get out of the rat race and buy businesses, what question do you think you should be asking me right now?
Which business makes the
I like that one. Which business makes the most money? How about, how do I get out of the rat race? Yeah, because get out of the rat race. Because that's the end of the day. If you don't get out of the rat race, you can never buy the businesses that increase your income by $50,000 a month, and you don't get a chance to buy those dreams. And that's where we look at a basic income statement and balance sheet. Now, the first time I played this game, I'd never seen one of these. Managed to get my PhD, public high school diploma, but I had never seen an income statement or a balance sheet, right? How many of you have a PhD kind of like mine, right? You're like, you hadn't seen one of these before. And this became something that was important to me because after high school, after college, how many times has anyone asked you, what was your grade in physics? No one cares at all. But how many people have asked you, what do you earn and what do you owe? A lot. What do you earn and what do you owe? And you're like, I don't know. Where would I find that information? It's on an income statement and balance sheet, right? Does Google know? Maybe, And here's the point. This is what you have to begin to learn to understand and manipulate. Is Angel here still? Yeah, Angel knows these backwards and forwards, and this is a hyper-simplified version of one. Yes? Hyper-simplified. But it's better to start here than nowhere. Got to start somewhere. Where you start isn't where you stay, and the first time I played this game was the first time I ever saw one. I'm like, okay, let's play. And what happens is that you have to have passive income that is greater than your total expenses. But here's what we're going to do. We're going to simulate real life. Because when you simulate real life, and you were 8 and 10 and 15 and 18, and some of you 20, 23, people ask you, what do you want to be when you grow up? Right? Now, how many of you, when asked that question, have said something like, well, what I would love to do is that I'd love to work about 80 hours a week, be told when to go to lunch, when to get up, what to wear, what to drive, know that I have to apply for my vacation well in advance because I got to beat the person in the cubicle next to me because if they get that date, I'm not going to be able to go. And I can't wait till I get the privilege of asking for time off to take care of my kids or help them in some way. How many of you said that? Is that not close to the reality, though, of having a job? Yeah, pretty close. And that's my point. You went to school, you got the good grades, and you ended up with a job. But before then, you wanted something else. You had a dream, right? We don't know what it was, but it wasn't that. So that's what we're going to do right now. What I want you to do is I want you to choose a color, one color, rat and cheese. And then what you're going to do is you're going to choose one of the pink squares on the rat race. There's no wrong answer. This is the beginning of one of the reasons why I ask those who are related to sit at different tables, because his dream is different than her dream. And I want both of you to feel the emotional freedom to choose whatever square you'd like. Okay? So choose one of those, take the cheese, place it on one of the pink squares. All right, everybody has a dream? Yes? You have a dream, exactly. Perfect. You got it. I have a dream. That's right. Now, we're going to simulate real life. Here's what happens. Bankers, be ready. Look at your dream. Under that dream, there is a number. Look at it closely. Okay? Now, here's what we're going to do. That dream has a price. That's great. You went to school. You got good grades. You ended up with a job. Bankers, what we're going to do is we're going to simulate how most people pick their job. Take the occupation cards, turn them upside down, shuffle them randomly, and let them choose. Because that's how most of you got the job you have right now. Yes or yes? Randomly and blindly. So choose one. And congratulations, that is yours. Now, what you're going to do is you're going to copy all of that information. Copy all of that information over. Keep copying. Okay, if you are done copying, pass your scorecard and your sheet to the person to your right. They are known as your auditor. And have them audit to make sure you didn't add any extra zeros or conveniently forget an expense. Have you been audited? Yes? Yes. Who has not? Not yet? Okay. Pass your scorecard and sheet to the right. Yeah, I got you. We're almost there, people. Okay. Make sure you copy everything. Bankers, even if you played before, make sure your table stays in line with me. With me. Do not give them the answers. It's as important. You're good. All right. As I was saying, look at your dream. It has a cost, right? What is that number that's there under your dream? Shout it out. Exactly. Now look at your salary that you just wrote down. Did some of you just experience a disconnect between those two numbers? Here's my point in saying that to you. This is a real choice that's happening out there and possibly you have made before. You say, I want this, and then you look at your paycheck and you're like, oh, it's different. And then you make one of three decisions. You say, well, this is what I want, but this is what I earn. There's no way I could ever do that, so I quit. And you just check out and you continue existing, not living. Or you look up here and go, this is what I want, this is what I earn, and you go, well, maybe 4 vacations a year is a little much. How about just 1 every other year? Maybe, you know what? I guess it's okay to live in a condo all my life. Who cares? I guess, you know what? I know the car's 20 years old, but hey, it still runs. That's fine. And until these two match. Does that make sense? What I love about this game is that it taught me that if I wanted something up here, that there was a way to get this income to move up to here. And it taught me the process for doing that. And then everything else after that has been seeking out the people, tools, and resources to make that happen. That's why I love this game. Because you keep learning from other people how to make that happen.
Are you tired of letting good cash flow generating ideas go to waste? Go to cashflowdiary.com/ready to apply for a complimentary, yes, that means free, one-on-one breakthrough session. Take action now. Go to cashflowdiary.com/ready. Again, that's cashflowdiary.com/ready. Before we get back to today's episode of the Cashflow Diary podcast, your host, Jay Massey, has some important insights to share with you.
Okay, so as you can tell, the game means a lot to me. Hopefully it means a lot to you, and it'll mean a lot more to you over time as you continue to go out there in your journey. One of the things that I want to make sure that people understand is that he or she who educates the market dominates the market. So go out there, play the game to educate people. And when you do that, you'll figure out and find a lot of the resources. You heard me say that I was talking about all the resources to make that happen. I can track to a cash flow game nearly every resource and everything that has happened to us just because of how much of a fundamental piece of everything it has been. You're like, man, that seems like it's crazy from a board game. Well, if you invest the time, it'll come back and pay you in spades. Let's get back to it. Now, here's another quick lesson. How many of you, when you looked at your job title, had a positive emotion? It's a job title. You keep your hands up. What was your job title? Keep your hand up. Truck driver. Doctor. Lawyer. Airline pilot. Truck driver. Police officer. Mechanic. Donuts. Krispy Kreme for you. I'm on. Now, what was it? Business manager. For those of you that had an airline pilot, lawyer, doctor, why did you like that? Why? Sexy title. Okay. Make a lot of money. What else? Chicks tickets. All right. Question is do you want that chick? That digs it. There's a reason. Okay. For All right. How many of you looked at your title but had a negative emotion attached to it? All right. What was it? Janitor. Lawyer. Police officer. Secretary. Lawyer. Police officer. I don't understand. He had police officer and he's excited. Maybe it's just the donuts. He's got who had lawyer and was excited? Lawyer, and he was excited. And we had two other people that got lawyer and they're like, I don't like this. How is that possible? What do you think is driving that? See, it's interesting in a game or simply a title and you have you're like, ooh, I'm excited. I'm a doctor. It's a title on a piece of paper. And you have an emotion attached to it. I'm someone special now because I've got a title. Really? It's just a title. Here's my point. At the end of the day, there are some people who are excited right now that they got the janitor card, the mechanic card, aren't there? Yeah. And they're excited for a reason. They also have played the game before. Okay? And here's my point. Everybody has to do the same thing. Remember, I said you get out of the rat race when your passive income is greater than or equal to your total expenses. You may want to write that down somewhere because you're going to ask me sometime later. Someone always does. All right? The other thing you want to write down is next to your name, write the color of your rat because you will forget at least once. Okay? Those are just little helpful hints to make things go around faster. And you're like, oh, I've moved you 2 times in a row. That's the wrong one. Okay? So your passive income has to be greater than or equal to your total expenses. Who got the doctor card? What is your current total expenses? $9,650. Who got the janitor card? And what are your total expenses? $950, but you were upset about being a janitor.
I just don't like the idea of having a job.
Okay. You could have been any title then, and you would have been upset with it. Got it. I like it. He's my kind of guy. He is what they call psychologically unemployable. I love that. Can't hire me at any price. I love that. I love that about him. That's good stuff. So, if all we're measured in, if the measurement is dollars, who has more work to do, the doctor or the janitor? Doctor. If our measurement is a percentage of income, because once you get to 100% of your income, you are now free. That is, once 100% of your income is passive, you're now free. Who has more work to do, measured in percentages? More. No, it's equal. Because what percentage of income right now is passive for all of you? Zero. See? It's all an equal playing field. It's going to be all about the decisions you make from this point forward. Everything in the past is so what? This game is going to show you now what? And that's what's important. I don't care what you've done before or what job you have today. It's all about the decisions you make from the time you roll this dice and we move forward. And that's what's going to determine your results. No more blaming, well, I only have a PhD and that's why I can't, or a public high school diploma. See, that doesn't come out right when I do it wrong. I only have a high school diploma and I'm a janitor and I can't do that. That's for them, not us. Wrong answer. It's going to be about the decisions you make from this point forward. That's going to where it's going to determine where you end up. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to have another financial lesson real fast. Right here is what they call your paycheck. Okay? And that's going to be becoming important because I want you to see how to play in the rat race. You see these green squares? Those are called opportunities. It's big or small. Good night. They're big or small, and there are lots of green squares as you go around the table. Anytime you land on a green square, you get to choose a card, big or small deal. I don't really care which one. Small deals start at no money down up to $6,000. Big deal starts at $4,000 on up to $200,000. The market card is where you get to sell something that you probably purchased.
Okay? That's usually what happens, not always, but that's usually what happens. And then you'll see this wonderful pink card. It's called doodads. You're very familiar with them. Unfortunately, it is the one card that you must do whatever it says. You must buy whatever it is. You'll grow to hate them. It is what it is. So have fun with that. And sometime the doodad card says you used credit cards, and you'll say to yourself, I would never do that. Well, today in the game, that's exactly what you did, okay? I know you would say, I would never use a credit card for that, but in the game, that's exactly what happened. Now, after you get around there, you see two purple squares. It's have a baby and downsize. That's literally like it says. You have a kid, you lose your job. Try not to do both at the same time. It's really bad, okay? And then you want to get over to, where to go? I'm getting there. Paycheck. On paycheck, anytime you land on or pass paycheck, there is a number that is how much you receive. If you do not tell the banker, as a courtesy to the banker, tell them, say paycheck and the amount. They will forget what your paycheck is because it should be changing. If your paycheck does not change, that's called a sign you are playing the game incorrectly, okay? It means take a risk, do something. Don't let the paycheck stay the same. So this should be changing and fluctuating all the time, i.e. make sure you're using a pencil because you will need it. That's what I want you to do here. All right? Now, here's the first lesson. Here's what I want you to do to speed things along. I'm going to give you some money. You like money, I know this. So I'm going to give you twice, and I'm also testing to make sure you know how to read your balance sheet and income statement. I'm going to give you twice your salary plus your savings in cash. So when you've got that number, tell the banker, and he or she is going to give you that much money. All right. Everybody got money? Okay. How many of you found that to be a little challenging, just going, oh, so where's the salary line, right? If you can't read the statement, it doesn't help you. If you don't know how to interpret it, the number, it doesn't help you in any way, shape, or form. I specifically did that because you need to know where these numbers are. Twice your salary plus your savings, all right? All right, so when you roll, we're going to be rolling with 2 dice. How many? 2 dice. Excellent, excellent. You got that part. And we're going to be going clockwise around around the circle, inside the rat race. Now, I want to go over one quick item, and then I'm going to turn you loose onto the game. I'm going to give you, all of you, for the entirety of the game, an 850 FICO score. How many of you love me right now? Yay, good. Yeah. How many of you have no clue why the other people were excited about that? You're like, why do I care? All right, because an 850 FICO is pretty darn good. It means I'm going to give you a loan. However, here's also what that means. That means I need no income verification. You excited about that too? Yeah, I don't care if you have a job at all. I need no collateral. Now, I am not telling you this is how you should lend money. I'm just saying this is how I'm lending money to you today in the game. Okay? No income, no job, no collateral. I don't care. And you can so therefore you can borrow the money for any reason whatsoever you devise. Does that sound good? Excellent. Who said that? Someone said something. What was that? What's the interest rate? She's like, oh, you trying to burst their bubble? This is, I'm getting all kinds of excited. She's like, that's too good to be true. There's got to be a problem. All right. So she wants to know the interest rate. Here it is. First of all, my loans are interest only. Okay. That's it. When you make the payment to me, you're only paying interest, not principal. Second, it is 120% APR. How many of you are like, great. I was excited. You just popped my bubble. What's that? The great. Not for me. I'm the banker. Now, here's the point. How many of you consider that to be an absolutely ridiculous rate of interest? Everybody should have their hands up, okay? As a rate of interest, it's ridiculous, right? But here's the point. The whole reason this is the case is so that you can learn that even at a ridiculous rate of interest, it's still possible to make this work. Some of you, based upon your occupation and the choices you're making here in a second, if you don't learn how to use my loans at this interest rate, it's not going to work. You won't get out of the rat race. Yes? Yes, you pay interest every time you pass paycheck. Every time you pass paycheck. So here's another way to calculate that. So hypothetically speaking, let's say you borrowed $10,000 of principal. This is the amount you borrowed. You owe me 10% of that principal every time, 10% of that amount in interest. What did I do? Oh, there we go. 10%. So therefore, you're going to pay me $1,000 every time as interest, which means the loan balance is $10,000 and does not change. You borrow in $1,000 increments and you pay back in $1,000 increments. I don't care when you pay me back. I don't care when you borrow. I just care that you pay me back and that you borrow. That's good for me, right? So some of you are just scared, and I know that. Good. Hopefully you'll break through and figure out how to use this to your advantage, okay? Because if you don't, it's not going to work. Now, here's what you're going to want to do. You're going to want to take one die. How many? One. And determine who goes first. High roll wins, roll clockwise, etc., etc. Second, when you pick up a card, especially for those who are at your table who have never played, please read the entire card. There will come a point tonight at which everyone begins to get it, and you'll be able to go faster. It'll be obvious what that point is. For those of you who have played before, here's what I'm going to ask you to do is not give people the answer. The most important lesson you can learn tonight is why you buy and why you don't buy. Okay? Why you buy, why you don't buy. Another way of saying that is, Jay, is this a good deal? It's one of my most irritating questions. Because it just says you don't know your own investor identity like we talked about earlier. That's what it tells me. Is this a good deal? Because a good deal for me might not be a good deal for you, because some of you saw the apartment complexes and you just ran scared. Some of you see the resort, you saw that and you're like, ooh, that sounds kind of tasty, right? That's great. The point is that you're on that scale somewhere, and until you understand that, it's going to be hard for you to determine if it's a good deal for you. So, with that being said, please read the card aloud. Don't tell people the answer. You can ask all the questions you want. No problem. I'll walk you to the answer, but it'll be your answer for your reasons. So that's one of the things that I care about, is that you know why you buy, know why you don't buy. Make sure when you pass paycheck that you remember to ask your paycheck. This will be your last final warning. If you do not get paid, there is no direct deposit. Do not get bad at the banker, okay? They're not going to hand you any money, okay? They have if the person next to you goes and you go, oh, I forgot my paycheck, well, oh, well. That's just the way it rolls today. And remember, keep an open mind, especially those of you related to each other, because occasionally you'll do things differently. Men and women think differently, right? And is that okay? Yes. Okay. You can learn from each other tonight, and that's what I want to have happen. So determine who goes first. Once you know who's going first, feel free to start here and go around the circle. And then once you complete a circle, you're going to go around the circle. And when you complete another one, you're just going to keep going around the circle until when? Your passive income is greater than or equal to your total expenses. You do not stop going around the circle until that moment. Okay? So, you ready? Let's begin. Can you begin to see how playing this game multiple times could continually begin to influence you, make you smarter, help you make different decisions? And who knows, one day, maybe you're standing in front of the room teaching hundreds, thousands of people how to play this game, and that's just part of your business and what you get to do every day. When you played this game, did you have fun playing the game itself? Yeah, and I told you earlier, this is what I do every day. So how many of you would like to play the game and have fun every day? Right? Now you know. You're like, what does Jay do? What is he? Where's he? How's he busy all the time? This is what I'm doing. I'm picking up cards. I'm going, no, yes, no, yes. Ooh, give me 2 of these. You know, same thing. And you got to ask yourself if you think you are ready, keywords, ready to take the game into your reality. Well, at the end of the day, you want to talk to the person that invited you here to figure out what else might be in store for you. And most importantly, how you can begin to do this in your life. See, there's a thing such as learning to invest in real estate with OPM. Who knows what that is? Other people's money. Right. And one of the things I've learned is that people can use their retirement plans to be able to do this. Most people are disconnected from their retirement plans. It's been one of the places. If I had to randomly take a guess, I could get my CFO on the phone and find out. But I'm going to guess that we probably raised at least $6 million of the $11+ million that we've done from retirement plans alone. Okay? And learning to invest in real estate with OPT, what's that? Other people's time, exactly. One of the greatest things about real estate is there are so many people who have a lot of time and they're willing to sell it to you for cheap. We call those vendors in various different forms, right? You got your property managers, you got your construction and rehab teams, you got all these people who have the ability to do that. And one of the things that I enjoy a lot is that I can, quote unquote, invest in real estate without leaving my own house. Meaning I live here in Mission Viejo, okay? Don't be stalking me and trying to track me home, okay? I'll meet you at Starbucks, it's fine. Right? But I live here. Most of the properties are not in the state of California. That's, again, by design, many different reasons. And I don't have to leave my house to buy another one, to do an inspection, none of that stuff. I bought nearly every single family house, sight unseen, and I've done hundreds of these. I saw the one in San Bernardino, like 3 years after I bought it. I thought it would be neat to go by and actually go look at it. And that might be the only one I can remember, the only single family house I've ever seen. I've done deals in Florida, Michigan, Georgia, Atlanta, Indiana, Illinois. I mean, all of these places, but it doesn't matter. Learning to invest in real estate with OPK. What's that? Other people's knowledge, right? Two brains are often better than one. And how many of you would say that you've learned at least one financial term? Most importantly, you feel like you're a little bit more prepared for the world out there than you were when you started this morning. Just a little bit more, right? You get a higher financial IQ because words like ROI, words like cash on cash return, words like total return on investment or depreciation, amortization, cash flow, and appreciation. Because there's how many types of appreciation? Five. Right? And now you know that, and you know what they are: found, forced, phased, inflated, and passive. And you know what they mean and what you should be counting on. You have a higher financial IQ. And now I've given you something that is of great use value, significant use value. It's Rob, right? Yeah. We were just talking about an idea, because many of you heard it. I think he caught it. I said a way to find cell phone towers is to look at tax deeds, vacant land. And then he was like, so what I need to do is figure out the types of property that these people will buy and then go look for those in the tax deeds and then go offer it to them. I'm like, yeah, that's pretty much it. And I was like, yeah, and there you go. There's $1 million idea. Have fun with that. He's like, thanks. Because I don't have the time to do that. And all of us could do it right now. And you know what? We wouldn't make a dent in the problem. But yet, in your personal pocketbook, that'd be kind of cool. Right? Learning to invest in real estate with OPE. What is that? Other people's everything. If I can get them to do it bigger, better, faster, cheaper than me, great. I don't need to be the expert in all the pieces. I just need I need to be the generalist. I need to understand what the pieces are, how to put the puzzle together, and let the puppy fly. Because I'm good. Not that puppies fly, but you get my point. Other people's everything. Because, see, this is very true. If you don't go after what you want, you'll never have it. If you don't ask, the answer is always no. If you don't step forward, you are always in the same place. And the interesting thing is, just remember, there was a period during the game in which I specifically said, the bank was going to pay for all the down payments. And some of you didn't ask for what you wanted. And therefore the answer was no, meaning you didn't get it. Those opportunities present themselves to each one of us all the time, every day. And if you're not clear on what it is you want, also known as clear on your investor identity, you can't ask for it. You don't even know it, and it could be right in front of your face. You just don't see it. And the thing that'll happen for you is as you get together with the individual that invited you here, you'll get more clear on maybe what it is that you wanted, how to take this into your real life. And that's exactly what you want to do. You want to sit down with them. You want to understand what that looks like. How can you help me do what I did in the game? Best question you could be asking as you leave here. How could I do that? Because that's what happened to myself and my wife. We started at 6 p.m., kept playing, and we didn't go to sleep. We were jabbering all the way. Oh my God, you know what happened? It didn't matter. New ideas had come into our life, new possibilities, just like what happened for some of you tonight.
Now, what has happened for those of you who have just listened to me instruct a number of people through the game? Hopefully you've taken some notes. Hopefully you've gotten some ideas, some questions that you might ask, because the whole point here is to give you the tools necessary to go out there and build some cash flow. I am looking forward to talking to all of you guys again soon. Until next time.